Speaking of excited, Ben Griffin, a winner again. I heard a lot of different ways this was phrased. It was like first individual win, first 72-hole stroke play win. Obviously, wins at the Zurich. Had the shades on again. Played well. I wrote this on Twitter, Patrick, but the way he won, in the fashion he won, and what he had to face off against in terms of that pitch in at the 18th from Matthias, it was like winning golf tournaments on the PGA Tour is very hard, and I felt like it was all the way down the stretch until the final putt went in. You never knew if he was actually going to win the thing, even though it looked like he was in total command of the golf tournament.
That was maybe the longest Sunday on the PGA Tour this year. It just felt like it was going on forever. And he gets off to a fast start, which ultimately was really the difference when you think about it, with Matty playing the first two in even par. Ben Griffin played him in 3 under par and gave himself the leeway down the stretch. That was his last birdie on number 2. And it was just surviving the last 16 holes. He got as far as 5 ahead of the field. And every time you think this golf tournament's over, Shane, something happens. Either Ben Griffin makes a dumb mistake, misses it where you're not supposed to. Matty Schmid is flip-flopping bogeys and birdies pretty much all day. You think, okay, on the penultimate hole, he chips out sideways, makes bogey that way. You think, all right, this thing is finally over. It's finally over. And then he chips in for birdie, and Ben Griffin has to get up and down from an awkward lie from the rough just outside the greenside bunker. So he stuck it to the haters and losers, of which sadly there are many, according to Ben Griffin. I don't know many Ben Griffin haters.
No,
I don't know about you.
No, not a lot. Not a lot in my world, I don't think. But I mean, you know what? Sometimes you just got to write it on the board yourself. You know, I mean, MJ was famous for that. Maybe Ben Griffin is like the golf's new age Michael Jordan. You never know.
Maybe
that's what people are saying.
UNC Connect, obviously.
There you go.
Big week for UNC with David Ford. A lot of other things too. Belichick maybe getting married here, so very happy for all the Tar Heels out there. And big win obviously for Ben Griffin, and people are chattering about what it could mean for his career.
Yeah, what it could mean later in the season. We'll get to Ryder Cup in a little bit. We're going to do our projections for the first time this season as we start to kind of look at the 12-man teams on both sides, and there's a lot of names that will be thrown out over the next couple of months as we do this. I can promise you that. Ben Griffin might be on the list. He might not be. Scottie finished 4th. Fleetwood finished 4th. Scottie, like I was telling some friends of mine on Saturday that it felt like he makes the cut, and he was like, all right, maybe I should try to win this thing. You know, and he goes out and fires a great 3rd round. I thought he was going to miss the cut. I thought he was going to win after the 2 holes he played on Thursday. Then I thought he was going to miss the cut, and then I thought he might win again. But this is like the definition of Scottie Scheffler right now is ho-hum week, not that into it, putted poorly, finishes 4th, right?
Yeah, it felt like he sleptwalked his way to a T4 finish, and he was never really too engaged in it. And really, he talked about it after how Friday he felt like the tournament kind of slipped away from him. And Saturday, that round could have been 3 or 4 strokes lower. The way he hit the golf ball, it felt like he could have gone sub 60, honestly. And then Sunday, he didn't really make a whole lot either. But, man, just so easy to him, and just another performance where it showcases how high his floor is.
Yeah, I had him on my can't win list, and I promise you 2 holes in, I was like, oh boy, this is not gonna go well when he starts out eagle birdie, and you're like, oh well, this is kind of Scottie might shoot, he might win this thing by 10. I think that was something we were pointing at is, it's a golf course that's maybe hard for a player like Scottie to separate, just because maybe the powers that he possesses don't exactly shine on this golf course necessarily. But I mean, the dude is just, like, how do you not have him atop your list on every major going forward? Not just because of what he's done in his career, but every single week, the consistency is right there. And I was impressed, honestly. I mean, even without the victory, I was impressed that he played that well. I mean, it seems like he had a lot going on that week. I think he went to a couple Stars games, like at home, doing stuff, dealing with the hangover of winning the PGA. I don't know if you follow Ted Scott on Instagram. He does those Sunday sermons where he talks. It's obviously, a lot about faith and religion, but I thought he said something interesting this Sunday on his Instagram about Scottie wins the PGA and everybody's focus just goes to what's next. And nobody talks about what it takes to win one of those. First time he's won the PGA, the excitement of finally getting that done. All of us and we did it the Sunday after. I mean, we're doing exactly what Ted Scott's talking about is, can he win the U.S. Open? Can he win all 3 majors to finish the season? I mean, it is so interesting to hear from somebody within that circle about what they think versus the stuff we talk about, because we look ahead, and I don't think Scottie looks ahead ever,
Yeah, exactly. I will say, if this tournament was 7 holes longer, Scottie
Yeah.
Scheffler wins. Absolutely.
I
And
think so too.
I think you hit the nail on the head with people were kind of questioning the fatigue factor almost. I think it was more preparation based. Scheffler's such a creature of habit, like you mentioned. He's never looking ahead, never really looking behind too much, and not going to the golf course Monday, Tuesday, playing 9 holes on Wednesday, going to the Stars game. Also, maybe influenced the sluggish start outside of those first 2 holes on Thursday. And so I think getting back into his routine moving forward, the wins are going to keep on coming. But definitely interesting.
Maybe he can't win this. Maybe he just can't win this event. Maybe this is his Riviera to Tiger, right? I mean, maybe that's where we sit here with the Charles Schwab.
Yeah, I think he'll win it one of these days.
Okay,
I have faith in him. Hot take alert.
I mean, he might actually pull this thing out at some point. Anything else from the Charles Schwab? I mean, golf course is interesting for the players. It tests them. It's fine on TV. It's not going to kind of blow you away, but I think it's totally a fine test and a different test. And I think that's the stuff we want to see throughout the season is kind of slot in. This golf course, think about Harbour Town following Augusta, very different than what you saw the week prior at the PGA. And that's what I like to watch is I want something to be different, to test different, to demand different. And I feel like that's a lot what you get with Colonial.
Yeah, balls were bouncing around, really firm greens, which was great to watch. Premium on fairways, which is always good. One final note is Rickie Fowler. A little disappointing in the final round. You see the Matty Schmid, Ben Griffin, Rickie Fowler group. And Shane, I know he's going to get sponsors invitations and career money exemptions into some of these tournaments, but Fowler does not have full-time status next year on the PGA
Crazy.
Tour. And he is hovering around that 90 mark in the FedEx Cup. Obviously, those outside the top 70 will be battling for cards in the fall with only 100 on the line. So big couple of months for Rickie Fowler, and probably wishes he could have squeezed a little bit more out of that performance there at Colonial.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point about Rickie, and really, as we get into Ryder Cup projections, you think about, Rickie Fowler, you think about so many of these names that have been such a consistent, marker in terms of notables on the PGA Tour, and so many of those names, the players that we expect to be there, the players we expect to be on these teams, whether it be a President's Cup or Ryder Cup team, they're not just not on these teams, but to your point, they're now battling to continue to play full-time in terms of PGA Tour golf. I mean, look at just recent major winners, players that, kind of pop on the scene and you're like, all right, is this guy, Wyndham Clark, going to be another, one of these types of players? And then the game quickly falls off. I mean, Rickie struggled for a long time with the game, but it feels like every time he's around the lead on a Saturday and Sunday, it's not just he doesn't perform, but he shoots something like this, right? 4 over par, never even close to being in the conversation. And for Rickie, I don't know what has to happen. He doesn't look that happy playing golf. I think that's something that bums me out is when you watch him on the golf course, like, doesn't seem like there's a lot of joy in what he's doing in the process. Like, he just carries the water bottle around like my son when I scold him. It just doesn't look that much fun anymore. And I don't know if Rickie was ever the Rickie Fowler persona and Rickie Fowler as a golfer. They were very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
The persona was played up. He's not just a golfer. He does all this other stuff. But him as a golfer, he wasn't never that interesting as a player. He was good, but he wasn't like he bombed it. Very good putter, obviously very good for a long time inside of 10 feet. But I think Rickie Fowler, the golfer, now almost seems to marry Rickie Fowler, the persona, a bit on the golf course. And it just doesn't look like it's that much fun. I mean, when you watch him play.
He looks almost old, tired, and like the scene from Forgetting Sarah Marshall when he's wearing orange on Sunday. He's like, why am I wearing this shirt right now?
Yes.
So, Shane, can you guess? Rickie's number 90 in the FedEx Cup. Can you guess who is number 91? He is beating this person by 0.3 of a point.
I mean,
Ryder Cup related.
Wyndham Clark, Max Homa,
Zach Johnson.
91.
Zach Johnson's 91.
God, Zach Johnson just firing that third round at Augusta is going to carry him into the conversations later in the seasons. One round of golf for ZJ forever will be a part of what he did in 2025.